there?
Yeah, if you go down to the bottom with your cursor, you'll see a thing that turns your mic on and your video on. Sort of at the bottom of the screen on the left-hand side.
Right. I've got mute start video. Yeah?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, you can hear me, though?
I can hear you. Yes,
yeah.
I can't see you.
Okay.
It's one of those mornings when technology is not playing.
Yeah. Saying failed to start the video camera, please select another video camera in settings. Yeah, I can see the light is on.
Yeah, I mean, not to worry, we can do it this way just as easily. It's nice then you get the variation from the podcast.
I'm just going to see, let me just go to my settings.
Okay.
Right, let's just close that one down. So that's the camera settings. Which settings is it talking to me about? Let's try again.
Hello. I can see you now.
Have you got it? Is it on now?
I can see you. Yes.
Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I'm just going to pour some coffee.
Yeah, I just had my tea. I'm sorry about that mix-up this morning. I suspect I clicked on the wrong link and was waiting in a completely different room.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just quickly explain how this is going to work so we can get it done and you're a busy lady. So I'll start by asking the questions you've got and hopefully it'll be more like a chat than an interview.
Yeah.
After the last one, I'll thank you and ask you how people can get in touch with you, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Don't disappear immediately after I've thanked you because I'd like to then thank you off, but it'll give me an easy way to edit it.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll top and tail it, edit it so it looks nice and send you a copy of the recording and the podcast. And then I will put mine on my various places that they go if you're happy.
Perfect, that's great. And if you want to send me links, I can put those into newsletters and things like that. So
excellent, thank you.
Yeah. Do you know when you have it scheduled for, Beverly?
This will be scheduled to go out sometime early next week.
Okay, brilliant.
Okay, but I will let you know.
Fab.
Right then, so let's begin. Right. So good morning, Laura. Thank you so much for joining us and letting me interview you like this early in the morning. Just tell us about yourself and your business. Introduce yourself to us.
Hi, so my name's Laura Morrison and my business is the Game Changer Consultancy. And it was a business that I set up initially when I began coaching under a different brand whilst I was still working in corporate life, and it was really about releasing people's potential. It evolved into the Game Changer through, I guess, changes in philosophy as I was in the corporate world and some of the work that I was getting involved in there around equality, social mobility, equal opportunities for people, and also the work that I saw around profitability and how we can unlock profitability when we actually work with what people want. So, there's a really distinct set of philosophies around the business. So like many businesses, we do offer training, coaching, consulting and speaking services, but we do it coming from a very clear set of values, and we're really quite considered in who we work with and what the projects are that we help them to do.
That's interesting because that whole thing about values and choosing who you work with, do you think that's a female thing?
Do you know, I don't. I think it is something that's quite a conscious thing. And I think we do see male-led businesses as well that do actually put the values at the heart of what they're doing. So I've been talking with a couple of colleagues who are men that I'm working with on collaborations at the moment, And, we all work together. So, I've got some talks coming up at the moment for women in technology groups. And that's really very much about how we work with men. So whilst I do a lot of work championing women, I'm a strong believer that actually men need to be very much included in that conversation. And in my own career, the champions and supporters that have helped me most were men.
Oh, interesting. So you have said you've worked with many women in all sorts of guises, and it does say on your website that you've worked with portfolios of over 100 million, and that's a huge number. However, do you find that the process is the same regardless of how much money is involved?
Absolutely. It's just playing with bigger numbers. So if you're using a particular process, particular strategies to work with people, and you do have that absolute clarity on values, you're just doing it with bigger numbers. Sometimes people can take that as a pressure, but actually it's not. It just means your chances of success, if you move the dial by 5 percentage points, that's just a bigger difference you're making.
Yeah.
So I'll give you, for instance, one of the improvement projects I worked on saved the company £10 million. And by doing that, I equate that in my value system to, that was equivalent to about 50 people's roles.
Wow.
On the average salaries that we hopefully didn't have to let go of, where we could continue serving the customer the right way, or use the money for other investment cases in the business. So I think you've got to bring it back to why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so important. Something I've really learned starting relatively new in all of this, about really doing what's important. So do you find then for you telling people what you do helps to grow your business?
I'm not one of these people that goes to a networking thing and answers the question, so tell me what you do. It's much more about having a conversation, and having a conversation which is based on what the other person is interested in, what challenges they have. And sometimes you can be having a conversation about the most random of things at a human level, and you find that point of connection. And as a result of that, one of the opportunities I'm just about to work on at the moment, I've been asked to help a finance company with their mergers and acquisitions on the people side of that. So, and it's just come from having a very human level conversation about what I do. So it certainly isn't the 30-second elevator pitch. I actually think that's time, it's been and gone, really.
Yeah. No, I agree. I talk to a lot of people around, we call it public speaking, but actually any time you open your mouth, you should be having a conversation with somebody.
Personal brand is pervasive.
Yeah, absolutely. So although you have these conversations, how did you feel the first time you had to get up and have this sort of conversation with a bigger crowd?
Well, it's interesting. With a bigger crowd, you see, public speaking I was thrown into at the age of 11. So I had a headmaster who used to really enjoy stretching and pushing me. So it was okay. We've got this leaver ceremony. I want you to stand up in Durham Cathedral in front of 400 people. So I kind of think I dealt with my nerves then. And it just became a natural thing for me that, when I was asked to do stuff, you get used to it. I used to play a lot of competitive sports, and you get that mindset, particularly one of the things that I used to do was showing horses, dressage, things like that. And you get into the mindset of you're ready to go, you prepare, and then you go, you turn it on and you perform. So, your performance has got to be authentic, and your preparation is knowing your subject and knowing your craft, knowing how to present yourself. So if you have those two things in the bag, you're going to be fine. I'm not a firm believer in this is how you do it in giving people a blueprint and a 101 of how to do it. Because
absolutely.
Well, the first presentation book I read when I started with BT as an apprentice, it said, be yourself.
Yeah.
So I closed the book and I got on with the train journey.
Absolutely. I mean, my big thing, I'm going to get it tattooed on my forehead, is know your stuff. Really, because when you know your stuff, you can't forget it. You can't get flustered. It's what you do. So I guess going back to the 11-year-old, and that's interesting because I'm of a generation where we all had to stand up in school and recite, read and do things. So for you, managing the nerves then is a case of you just know everything, do your stuff, and you get on and you do it and practice, would you say?
Do you know, now I've been doing it for a number of years, because my role and my job has always involved presenting in front of customers, training teams, and speaking occasionally on stage and to groups of women that I've never met before. My preparation is actually probably quite different to some. So I don't script.
No.
I'm not a firm believer in scripting. I do tend to go through what I'm going to be presenting and what the key points are, and I limit that usually to no more than 5 key points in something.
Yeah.
And I tend to just go and do it off the cuff, and that is something, it takes confidence, it takes practice, but the more you do it and the more confident you become, actually the more of your energy can go into engaging with your audience. Because I don't know for other public speakers that are listening, but when you've had the experience of you begin talking and you're pitching it at a certain level and your audience are actually at a different level, you have to be able to think on your feet.
Yeah.
So it's very much a two-way process. So I think the preparation is really cool. It's a bit like Blink Theory, isn't it? The 10,000 hours.
Absolutely. And to all of you listening out there, Laura has just totally secured what I keep saying to you: prepare, know your audience. I tend to go 3 key points, and I'm like you, I'm not a lover of scripts, purely because it's something that causes a stressor for me, and I don't like notes because I end up losing them. So it's all that preparation stuff. So thank you for reiterating that for me. So it's not like I'm whinging at everybody. So now that's sort of public speaking. You've got people in front of you, you know, you can, and I imagine like me, you can tell when an audience is listening or you're losing them slightly.
Yeah.
What about online? Do you use online, like webinars, a video, podcasting, or anything like that? Do you use that for your business?
Yeah, I do. I absolutely love it. And it's something I try and do quite regularly. So because I worked in technology, actually, conferencing and flexible working solutions were something that I used to deal with my clients a lot of the time, and internally managing virtual teams. So, you know, leading projects across different countries and continents, which were highly technical with people. So again, it's funny because even with coaching, when I first started coaching in 2008, everybody believed you had to be sat in front of the person to coach them. And when you have worked with people largely doing everything over the phone and online, you learn to pick up the nuances in people's voices.
Yes.
And so it's very important for me to connect with people online, one, because I think the technology gives us a wealth of opportunity. And I think what it does is allows people, if you're running a business, it allows people to really get a sense of you before they work with you.
Yeah.
So I've used it like that over the last couple of years. And I started in my Talented Woman group, just basically putting out opportunities for people to come and join free webinars and just to test some of the material, which has become my Game Changer for Women program. So it's great.
Yeah.
They got the benefit. I got the feedback. I was able to refine it. I was able to refine my pace, because obviously delivering to an audience of women from different countries is very different to dealing with a bunch of technologists.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, completely.
So learning, actually, if you've got an international audience, to slow down your pace so that they can hear and understand you, to not be afraid of the pauses, to allow the questions to come forward. You know, there's so much that you learn. So I think if you can do it and you've got a community, do it. Take the opportunity to guest and do things for other people. I don't run a podcast just purely because there's a limit to how much content you want to be creating. You want to have a couple of channels that work for you. Absolutely. So for me, it's my webinars. And now it's my courses, and now a lot of what I do is responding and going on as a guest for other people's interviews to talk about a range of business topics.
Excellent. Thank you. So what would be your advice then to women who have got relatively small businesses, or maybe just starting out, around, you know, they hate the idea of having to speak or speak in public, whether it's online or off? One piece of advice you would give them?
I think do it with somebody else, make a start. So I've nurtured a couple of women who had, you know, probably 18 months ago, never done a webinar before. And I could see the content that they were doing had value to my community. So I just invited them. So I've got the technology, I've invested in the tools to do it.
Right.
I can walk them through what you need to do to plan through it. In terms of, you know, if you're using slides, what do you need to do? How do you need to set up? And then we just do it together. So because they've got me there hand holding, it's great because it's kind of given them their first foray. And some of them I've seen go on to do various, you know, virtual speaker summits or expert summits in their field. So, you know, there are always people who are looking for good content. So if you see somebody out there like yourself, Bev, or like me, that does this kind of thing, get in touch, have a go and make a start, because, you know, the internet now is, you know, we hear these stories of trolling. It doesn't really happen that much. It is such an accepting place. And, you know, if you're in the right communities, you know, you'll get that feedback and you'll get better at it, and it will lead to speaking gigs, and it will lead to kind of requests to do blogs and expert things. So just give it a go. It's really not that hard.
There you go, from Laura's mouth. Jump in. And that's what I say all the time. Sometimes you've just got to do it and give it a go, because you'll never know.
But I think don't struggle on your own. That's the thing that's key, because if you struggle on your own, you know, if you work with somebody, you've got that accountability, you've got that support.
Excellent. Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. So just quickly, Laura, can you tell us how we can get hold of you if we want to chat or we want to know what you're doing? Just give us some contact details.
Really easy place to find me. So the website is www.thegamechangerconsultancy.com. And that has an events page which will tell you where I've got speaking things that are up and coming. It's normally got links to if I've done things in the past. You can also on Twitter at GameChanger Ltd, so short for limited. GameChanger Limited is my Twitter handle. And also, if you email info@thegamechangerconsultancy.com, if you've got any inquiries, any requests, you need some support, you need speakers. I also have a number of speakers that I work with, trainers and consultants as associates. So very happy to put anybody in touch. So just send us an email and we'll get somebody on it for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Laura, for taking time out. I know you're a really, really busy lady to talk to us, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Bev. It's my honour to be asked.
Right then, Laura, you need to get off and work.
I do. I've got a client now.
Work. I'll get all this sorted, as I say. I'll top and tail it, make it sound and look best, you know, as best as I can, and I'll send you the copies. Thank you ever so much for taking time out.
No, you're very, very welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.
Bye.
Okay, bye.